Come on, what's not to love about this? I am Karan Gokani, and today I'm going to take you to some of my favorite Indian restaurants across London. And this is where the chefs eat. That samosa is actually really good. I think London is the place in the world for food right now. You've got all the cultures, every little street offers so much. At every price point, you've got Borough Market, you've got obviously the posh stuff in Mayfair, you've got the little neighborhoods, you've got so much happening in East. I think London keeps it real. Yes, you can get your crazy expensive, bougie meals in some restaurants, but at the same time, you can get some really fun, authentic food. That's the kind of food I love eating. When I come to New Colaba, I always get the chaat. So chaat is a category of food that you find in most metros across India. It literally means lick, because you eat that food with your fingers. You're sort of licking your fingers afterwards, and it's so tasty. These guys do something that I grew up eating in the streets of Bombay, a Bombay bhel puri. So it's got rice puff, it's got little crisps, it's got potatoes, onions, and the most important thing are the different chutneys that they use to make it. So you've got spice from the green chutney, and then you've got tang from the tamarind. You've got this lovely garlicky background from a red chutney. It's just delicious. You get this in newspaper cones on the street, and typically you won't get a spoon, but you get one of these. So you kind of dig it in, use it as a spoon. Final, the last bite, you load your last little bit of bhel on top and eat the whole thing. So it's just fun. Now what I love about this is both of them are puris, and puris are these crisps made from wheat or semolina, which you just fry up and puff. And there are two versions here. These are pani puri, really simple. There's black chickpeas as potatoes. Sometimes you can put things like mung beans in there. You can put spices in there. And then there's a simple sort of minted tamarind water. So you pour that in, and the idea is to have it in one shot, a bit like a balloon exploding with textures and flavors in your mouth. And the fun thing is, with the same puris, you can fill them up with yogurt, a little more tamarind chutney, and the save crisps. Pomegranate just for, again, a little bit of sweetness and fruitiness to it. It's the same dish, but just tastes so different because of the yogurt in one and the pani puri pani in the other one. Now, obviously, this is a bit of a starter, but when we were kids, we'd sit and eat pani puri. My brother and me would just eat piles of pani puri as a main course, which I can't think of doing today. New Colaba is my choice for chaat, for North Indian food, and for that homely Indian food that you'd find at restaurants back in the 90s if you were growing up in Bombay. Right, so that was a great start. Got my belly full of chaat. I'm going to take you to the next spot. So I am in Soho, possibly my favorite part of London. This is something really unique. We're at Govinda's restaurant, which is part of the Hare Ram Hare Krishna temple. So you've got a temple on the first floor. You'll see the big Hare Ram Hare Krishna procession that sort of goes all around Soho, people singing and dancing. And I think it's a bit of an establishment. So it's not just about food for me when I come here. You can get great food across London, but for me, it's about this little moment where you're rubbing shoulders with people from all walks of life, all sorts of beliefs and faiths. It's the ethos and the thinking behind the food. So it's all for a good cause. It's such good value. So when you come to Govinda's, and I hope you do, obviously visit the temple upstairs. But then when it comes to eating, I go for the thali. And you've got various thalis. You've got a vegan thali, you've got a slightly bigger one. I've obviously gone all in with the giant Govinda thali. Thalis, it actually refers to the plate, and you've got a whole selection of dishes. So we'd have that, at a normal lunch at home. At Diwali, my grandma would have a massive thali for us. I'll start with what's in my hand. That's a papad. You have different versions of papad. This is a fried papadam. Then they do a spring roll. I prefer samosa, so I've taken an extra samosa. Something I love with a lot of my food is the roti. So they've got a simple chapati, which is our easiest, lightest option when you're eating something like this. A dal, which is like a light lentil curry. You then got a kidney bean curry. So a couple of dried stir-fried dishes. I think that looks like cabbage and corn to me. Rice, which is essential. I normally eat rice after the roti. And then my favorite thing, and I'm glad it's there on the menu today, there's a mango Srikhand, which is like a hung yogurt with mango puree, a little bit of saffron, a little bit of cardamom whipped through. Even my younger son, he just loves Srikhand. I made the mistake of giving it to him once with his meal. So I think it's in my blood, but I love that stuff.
Anything in Govinda's cooked, Hare Krishna temple, love and devotion, we cook with the love and devotion.
But you can feel that.
Exactly.
You can feel that when you get the food
Yes.
from the people. And this is, another special thing about this place.
Then when they cook, they're cooking, they have to listen bhajan. When you cook with that mode, then you cook, actually literally you create some dishes which is nourishing for your health and soul.
So I've just dined at Govinda's here in Soho. And it's been so special because it wasn't just a meal. I got to go to the temple. It's reinforced everything I've believed about how clean and homely their food is. It was a fantastic meal, but now I'm going to take you to arguably my favorite spot in London. Come follow me. I know I'm biased, but I think London is the place to get the best Indian food outside India. Wembley for one, Tooting. But if you're more central, there's Brick Lane where you get the curry mile. So there is incredible regional Indian food. Generally, when you're in a neighborhood and you walk around, you get a very good feel for where people are going, what has the queues, and what looks fresh. Here we are at our last and final stop of the day. This is something that's very special to my heart. Come join me at Hoppers. So we're in Hoppers Soho. Tiny little space, as you can see, 40 seats. Almost created a bit like a film set where it's immersive, it's hidden, it's just exciting. The crowd we see over the last 9 years of having this restaurant, I've noticed that people have gone from what is South India to, oh, we know a dosa. They kind of understand the finer nuances, maybe not to the extent that we know them, but that's what we're here for. So we've got probably the dish we've sold most of at Hoppers ever since we opened 9 years ago. Our bone marrow varuval, we've got beef bones, simmer them in this lovely curry made from coriander seeds, coconut, chilies, loads of curry leaves. And then we serve it with a homemade Malabar paratha. Beautiful flaky paratha. It's almost like a croissant, like an Indian croissant. All those layers, all that lamination and squashed together and then fluff back out. So break a little piece of this, load this on top and enjoy. I don't know how many of these dishes we've sold over the years, but it is still the first thing I feed anyone or come in and eat when I'm at Hoppers. More than the restaurant, it was about creating a space where you just come in and feel like you're transported, like you're taken away somewhere. Because a lot of dining is about that whole experience of, the sounds, whether he's making a dosa in the kitchen like that, or the people you end up sitting next to and chatting to, the friendships you make. I've had guests who've come in, sat next to each other. One has paid the other person's bill by the end of a 45-minute meal because they became such good friends. And I think it's stories like that really define dining in Soho, dining in London. Oh, look at that. Right. I'll tell you what, I've been on all kinds of diets over the last 9 years. But the one thing I just cannot avoid is if I walk past the dosa griddle and the guy's making a fresh dosa, I can't resist ordering one for myself. And it's this one particularly. Look at that. The chili cheese dosa. This is just magic. We make the dosa, we get a layer of podi on top, which is this lovely sort of lentil and spice and chili powder. We get a mix of mozzarella and cheddar. And then we get fresh green chilies. It's nuts. And all you need to really eat a dosa is some chutneys, maybe some sambar. But when I'm having this as a snack, just those chutneys are more than enough. I'm almost 3 lunches down now, and I'll tell you what's next. It's time for a big, long nap.